Typical reserve fund transfers, warrant articles, meeting minutes, new business, old business, public access, and then we'll go into adjournment. So in the reserve fund transfer, there aren't any, so we'll move right on and we'll deal with the 4 articles that kind of have some changes for us to deal with for Monday night. And the first one is Article 8, and you all had, I sent you all the information, and I tried to type up a motion just to kind of make it easy. So we knew what we were doing within the line item budget itself. So the first thing we would need to do is a motion to reconsider Article 8, since we already have one, formalized. So, do I have a second for reconsideration?
I'll second.
Okay. MCP and
So we have a
JW.
motion to reconsider.
Yep. So,
CP, J, Warwick, okay.
anybody, any questions, comments? All those in favor? And that's 9-0. Great. So, Article 8, as you see, I only have one question for either Barbara or Robin, is just, the email kind of just said we can't do it with joint communities anymore. Is there a why behind that?
I can address that. It's not that we can't, it's that the situation we were planning on going into as a joint community is not available to us right now. And we won't have time to go into another regional or go that direction before the beginning of the year. So for this year, we probably will go back to what we were planning on doing way back, which was hiring our own for 10 hours. And then looking again to go down to a regional situation if that's a better option. But the plan, we were looking to go with another community, and there was a change in personnel regarding that community.
So this,
So we couldn't do it.
so this will allow for a veterans agent to work 10 hours per week?
Which is what we were doing, yes. Yeah, it just puts it back the way it was.
Okay. Anyone have any additional questions or comments? Does someone want to approve the motion in yellow, or if there's something else you don't like, but it'd be good if you read it out loud for the public?
I'll make a motion that the Finance Committee recommend that the town vote to amend the article, which is the entire line item budget, by increasing the veteran service personnel costs, line item 61,
Yeah.
to $11,274, and correspondingly decreasing veteran services purchase of services to $13,726, reducing the veterans services total expenses, which is line item 62, to $90,626, and otherwise he approved the article as written.
Do I have a second? Larry? Okay. So that's Mike and Larry. Everyone get what we're doing? Okay. All those in favor? And that's 9-0. Great.
So we have a $2,000 buffer in our account.
You mean to the levy limit?
Mm-hmm.
With this going through like that? Okay, so that's 9-0. All right, snow and ice removal deficit. The number I have is 294,556, but I guess that's not what the Board of Selectmen decided to vote. So what's the reason for the difference?
The
294,556 is the correct number, Kevin.
Thank you, okay.
All right.
So I'm okay with the number. It's just a very specific number. We probably don't have any snow and ice, but, would a rounder number help, like 295,000 or 300,000? You got a little bit more moved over, it just comes back to free cash anyway. If you want a specific number, I'm okay with that. If you need a few dollars just in case there's something that you didn't quite pick up on that comes in.
In the book, in the new pink book, it says 300,000.
That's what we were expecting. Right. Yeah.
And they voted it, and 57 cents the other night.
So what are your thoughts, Robin and Barbara? I mean, we seem to have that, we think maybe $300,000 to account for anything that's missing, so we don't have late bills or anything like that?
I reviewed this with Heather, and this is we have all the bills now, and this is the final number. If something was to come in that was missed, we would have to just take it out of the DPW operating budget. But at the end of the day, I don't see that we're gonna have major bills, if any.
Okay. If you're comfortable with it, we're good with it. Okay, Article 55, I need a motion to reconsider.
So moved.
Jim's, anyone seconding? Mike? Mike McGlone. Just need to do that.
Just a point of clarification. The motion has to be made by somebody who was here to, when we voted that the last time, but anybody can vote on it, whether they're here or not, or do we have to go back and figure out who was here on the day we took the vote for this particular article?
That's a good question.
I don't really know the answer to that one.
The
This is a motion
motion to
to,
reconsider can only be brought by someone who voted for the motion. The reason for that is to avoid a case of freezing a situation by motion after motion after motion by somebody who's not happy, but they lost.
right, I'm trying to go find Article 55
I'm just
now.
wondering if I was here when we had the,
Well, you seconded, you didn't make the motion.
I made
so
the motion,
So
and I
second
was
is
here.
fine. Article 50, 54, of
So
course.
we have nine, Larry, so we have 9 people here tonight. There was only 8 people who were here when we made a recommendation to be provided at town meeting. Can 9 people vote on the reconsideration motion?
Sure.
But
That's
only
what's
the person
new.
who was here can do that. Okay. Can make the motion.
You can move it. Anybody can second, but the mover has to be on the prevailing
family
side.
side.
That was just recent we did that, too. Come on, Kevin. 56, 57, there it is. So I'm going to say we did that then. So there was Jim and Larry, so we're covered. All right. So I have a first and a second. All those in favor of reconsideration? 9-0. Okay. So Article 55, if someone would read the motion, I guess, if you're okay with it, into the record and bring it forward.
I'll read it if you want. That the town vote to transfer the sum of $294,556.00 to the snow and ice removal account for fiscal year 2026.
Okay. Do I have a second? Jim's motion?
Second.
MC? Okay. JWMC. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? 9-0. Beautiful.
Just to clarify then, if you said that in the actual book it says 300,000,
No, we talk about it as we're anticipating an expense that would lower the free cash number by 300,000.
okay.
We don't have an actual number, that's what we were anticipating.
Okay, okay.
At one point, I think it was anticipated to be even higher, but obviously it's come in lower.
but in our recommendation, we'll have this exact figure then.
Yeah, 294,556.
So on page II of the book, we said the snow and ice deficit is expected to be more than 300,000.
Right. So what we'll do is, I plan on, after we all vote and do this, I'm gonna send this to the moderator, so she has our updated motions, so she's ready for Monday night without a problem. Okay, so Article 56, I need a motion to reconsider that article as well. Anybody?
So moved.
Oh, okay, Mike and Jim. All right, all those in favor of reconsideration? 9-0. Okay, so Article 56, we will take no action because there aren't any unpaid bills from a previous year.
You need a motion to take no action?
Yes, you do.
I'll make a motion to take no action.
Okay, Jim?
Isn't art?
Do I have a second to the no action vote? Chris? Great. So, any other discussion? All those in favor? 9-0, right. All right, so, set that. All right, and the last one is the Article 57. Now that the bids have been open, we have the number needed to continue with that. So I would take a motion to reconsider Article 57.
Did we already vote on it?
Yeah, we did, our vote was a recommendation to be provided at town meeting. So we're getting rid of that, and we're gonna push that. So I saw Mike, and I think MC was the second. So Mike McGlone and MC for reconsideration. Any other questions about reconsideration? All those in favor? 9-0. Okay. So Article 57. Someone want to read this into the record?
Make a motion that we recommend that the town vote to transfer the amount of $105,000 from the sewer reserve fund balance to pay additional costs for repairs and painting of the wastewater treatment plant clarifier number 1, including painting, repairing concrete, and repairing and replacing any worn items, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto.
Excellent. That's Mike Hager, and Jim, I think you seconded? Yeah, okay. Any other questions or comments related to this? All those in favor? Great, 9-0. So that gets us all set for Monday night. Everything has an action from us. So, great. Okay. Now we got meeting minutes. First up on the agenda is March 12th.
Second place.
I'll get everyone a chance to look at this, why we apply back that technical difficulties of preventing this. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I thought it would have that, okay. I'm just trying to check back on it. Anyone have any comments? Any redactions?
What?
Motions to approve is written, the meeting minutes of March 12th.
Yeah, I got some.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
just several. Where it said Finance
What
Department.
page, so we know what we're talking.
Hold on a second here. Second. Oh, simple page 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's mostly, it's me, okay, so, first one, it says we're, want me to read what the revision, because I have a copy of it, I'll give it
Well,
to
what are you questioning before you read it?
KT recalls a salary study,
Yep.
okay. What it should say is, a question, understand a salary study was conducted several years ago that resulted in pretty good jump in pay raises. That was my question. RG confirmed, I didn't change anything, she said the study was done in 2019, but the reclassification, on and on and on. So that's what I want to change to, well, my portion of it, okay? I didn't say
You're not
recall.
really saying anything different.
I didn't recall, and it was a question, it wasn't a statement. And I didn't use significant. So that's,
So you're saying instead of recalled, you wanted to say questioned?
yeah, it's a question. I asked, what I'm asking was a series of questions rather than a statement. So my question was, I understand there was a study conducted, it's a question. And it was a pretty good jump in pay increases. What was the question?
Understood a salary study.
Yeah, so that's what, I'm asking a question, I'm not giving a statement, okay? I know there's nuances, but
Yeah,
that was, I actually went through the video, like, and I give these guys credit. I went through the video on Sunday, like 10 times, my own voice, to try to figure out what I said in slow-mo, and after 3 coffees, and I still couldn't figure it out, but, so I can't imagine what you guys go through, so enough said on
So it
that.
says you asked if a salary study was conducted several years ago that resulted in some pay raises. And
You
then
get it.
Robin confirmed whatever.
Yeah, you
Okay.
understand the salary, just, you'll get a copy of this, Elisa got a copy of it. The second one was where I questioned salary versus pensions. The second one in there was proposed raise. Finance director will result in significant. So what it was, question on salary versus pensions, 4.1% versus 9.5 seems significant. How does retirement pension work? That was my question. And RG gave the answer about it being a stipend, and so I'm not changing anything that Robin said, I'm just changing what I basically said. I just asked a question. It seemed like significant, assuming that 9.5% was a raise. As it turns out, it's not, but I questioned on salary versus pension, 4.1, and the question was, how does retirement pension work? So that was my question. So it was a question.
So you questioned how the proposed raise will,
They seem significant, and I basically said, how does this retirement pension work? In other words, what's the impact of this on retirement? How does the retirement pension work? Because I obviously didn't know, because that's why I asked the question. So, you want to take a look at that?
Finance director will res-
So we all set with your change?
And one more. Well, I got one
go
more.
for it.
And just the last one was the suggested cost of living. What I basically said was, thought process on salary based on Sturbridge's cost of living versus residing outside of town. Question: how do you figure it out and take it into consideration, realizing it's quantitative as well as qualitative, so there's no right or wrong? Is hometown cost of living considered during negotiations? That was my question. That was a question. And Robin basically looked at regionally, not locally, and that was her answer. And I didn't change anything Robin said, obviously. So I asked a question. I didn't make any recommendations to lower anybody's salary or anything along those lines. I just basically said, is it taken into consideration with negotiations, since we always say we have to attract people into town. Anyway, enough said. That's what I said. Those are the 3 things there.
So that one is, so the statement is, okay.
Yeah. How do we figure, take into consideration, realizing it's quantitative? Is hometown cost of living considered during negotiations? That would be more accurate. And it was a question.
So I'll look at your words and we'll turn it's basically, it says suggesting that to be in there, you're asking how it is reflected.
Yeah, it's questions, not statements, and I didn't make any recommendation to reduce anybody's salary based on anything. So you can keep that, it's fine.
Okay. Anyone else with changes to this set of minutes? Okay, so then get a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
MC, and Ken seconds, okay.
MCP.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor of the amended minutes? 1, 2, 3. Can't vote. Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think. 1,
Chris and
2,
Mike
3,
cannot.
4,
So we have
5,
7.
6. So 702.
2, with it being Mike and Chris.
Mike and Chris are the abstainees.
That might-
That might. Okay, so now we have the minutes of March 16th. Wait, oh, yeah, March 16th.
Let me see what's good here.
But you,
Oh, yeah.
if you're ready, you go.
Oh, I know what's going, okay, page 1, where it says the free cash and stabilization should be kept within limits, it should be the combined balance of free cash and stabilization fund. The combined, because individually, that's not minimum, individually, they're max. Combined, it's minimum. There's a difference.
All right, try and explain that then. I'm not following what you're saying.
What it said basically is the combined balance of free cash and stabilization fund should be maintained at a minimum of 10 to 15% of the general fund. That's, just change it to that, that's fine. The combined. When I'm saying, that you can end the minutes there, when I'm saying note, if you look at the individual free cash and stabilization funds, it does not say minimum, it says endeavor, meaning we will try as hard as possible to stay within that range. So that doesn't mean, that doesn't connote minimum, it connotes maximum. So as far as I'm concerned, that's fine. You can just, if you put combined balance of free cash and stabilization fund should be maintained at a minimum of the general fund, then that complies with the what's written in the book, the policy. The other comments are just my comments, you know, that's outside the minutes, so you can leave for what they are.
So, again, these bullets are very high level, and not, we're trying to get into the details of all the discussion back and forth. So the topic was, that we talked about free cash and stabilization being kept within the limits and the guidelines, right?
Yeah.
So you just,
The combination of the two, not individually. That's why it says combination balance of free cash and stabilization. Combination, both of them together, not individually. That's what this says, combination. That's the difference.
Yeah, but the combination of 10 to 15% is made up of 5 to 7%. 5 to 7.5% for each, is that?
so we talked about, yeah, we talked about free cash and stabilization, and the guidelines will say, on a combined basis, they should be about 15%. On an individual basis, they should be 5 to 7. So there's an individual component as well as a combined component.
Yeah.
And this generic statement just says, whether it's free cash or stabilization, free cash and stabilization, whether individually or combined, we didn't talk about that. It needs to be within the guidelines. The
Yeah.
guidelines talk about it on an individual as well as a combined basis.
Okay, as long as we understand that and means that both together should be minimum, that's fine.
All right. I'm still confused about what we're doing there.
I think we've arrived to, it's broad enough that it's, the discussion about free cash and stabilization being within the guidelines is, as written here, is broad enough to cover.
What his concerns are?
Yep.
But I think just to make sure, free cash and stabilization fund, yeah, together combined, not individually. As long as that doesn't say individually, then we're fine. As long as nobody can read into it saying, oh, individually, they should maintain that. That's not what it says. So that's fine. The policy says combined balance of free cash, so we can just stay within, or we can just keep it as it is. That's fine.
So
As long as it's together.
are we keeping it as it is, or are we changing it? I mean, I have no, I can
Let's see
read
where
it
the
either
motion
way.
goes. I'm thinking the way it's written addresses the issue. It's,
Right.
I'd like to go with the policy which says the combined balance of free cash and
So
stabilization fund.
that's what you want to amend, just to say the combined balance of free cash and stabilization.
Right?
You just want to put the combined, three words, combined balance of in that
Perfect,
bullet
done.
point.
Yep, then it's accurate. No confusion.
Okay. So that's the amended minutes, because unless someone else has got something I'm missing. Anyone else have any other changes they want to make to this set of minutes? Okay, so we're adding three words. So the motion would be to approve the minutes as amended. We have a motion MC. We have a second.
Second.
Okay, Bridget? Any other questions, comments? All those in favor of the amended minutes? So, and you're abstaining in this one too? Yeah. No, I wasn't here that.
Mike was not there.
Right, so it's 8-0 to 1. Mike? All right, so then we have the minutes of April 9th. I was tired.
You were here this time.
Give me a second here.
Kevin,
Yes.
I have some thoughts on those minutes. There are two versions. On page 1,
Well, I'm only accepting the original draft, not the alt draft.
So,
I should have said that, Larry,
let me go
sorry.
back.
well, wait a minute, I thought I had the floor.
You do.
I just want to.
I have the floor.
Go ahead, your page 1 of which draft?
Yeah, that's the draft we want to know.
This guy,
Well, it's, you pick. It's either,
Well, I did. I'm telling you, it's the original draft is the one I'm using.
and on the original draft,
okay.
what is the next to the last bullet on page 1?
MH suggested the Finance Committee consider including in the Finance Committee figures of overall spending, $60 million instead of just discussing the $43 million operating budget.
Okay, that's the original one?
Yes,
Okay. In that case, please turn to page 2,
each two, okay.
and the second bullet from the top, does that read MH question the basis?
For the line, yes.
Okay. Please look at that. Then, when you see what it says, I would like to put alongside that the following. On March 23rd, I wrote to the town planner. This is what I wrote. Please review the draft essay for the issues for your consideration section of the Finance Committee's annual report below. Mark it up and let me know your thoughts about it. She did. That was at 12:29 p.m., March 23rd. At 12:41 p.m. on the same day, she wrote to me, the town planner. She did. That seems fine. I am not sure about the rail service, though. Do you mean the west-east rail they are planning for Palmer? I am not sure the rail service. Other than that, everything seems good. Now, I also, on March 24th, wrote to this committee saying that it was, the draft was checked with the planning director. The bulleted item in the original set of minutes says that it wasn't. It was. Now, in addition, the draft did come to the committee, this committee. This committee had three choices. One would be drop it, don't publish. Another would be publish with the following changes. The other is publish it as is. It is that last, publish as is. So the committee had a chance to put a hold on it, to call in the planning director. That did not happen. I did consult, got her answer. Furthermore, in the final language, I stole her language. She wrote to me, Sturbridge is nearly built out for commercial/industrial uses now, period. Much residential land remains for development. That second sentence figures into the bullet in the original minutes, which I am contending the whole bullet item should be removed. In addition, in the final product, I added her recommendation, soil suitability and wetlands constraints to the list I thought of and sent to her for vetting. So I do not see, when you compare facts, as I've given them to you, alongside the bulleted item, that the bulleted item is justified and should be removed from the minutes. Thank you.
Okay, so you strike the whole bullet point. Okay. Anyone else have changes they'd like to add or comment on?
April 9th?
Yes.
Yeah, just one thing, let me see. Oh, yeah, just not a big one, but the 10-town comparison data, there was supposed to be an action item. I don't know if Barbara took it or not. No one seems to have a copy of it, but they will search the files to see if anyone can find that it actually exists. It might have been, I assumed it was done, but that was an action item to basically search the files and find a copy of it. So we want it, that was an action item. I don't know if we've found it yet or not, but
I have
What
to
was
say, I
that
was
in reference to,
gonna,
I'm sorry?
the 10
10-year
comparison.
comparison of towns or something that we did 10 years ago. If anybody found a copy of it that we could look at.
We
The
used,
current list of comparison towns?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can send that to you next week. I wasn't sure, I didn't know I was asked to do that, but I can get that to you.
oh, fantastic, thank you.
my question there is, right, we had, I don't know, 20 years ago, a set of 10 comparison towns, and then we actively changed them in the intervening time span to another set of 10 towns. You're gonna send that second set, right?
Yeah, they were updated when they did the salary, when we hired that company to do the whole compensation plan.
Okay.
And as part of that, when that was adopted, they also adopted new communities. So yes, I can send that to you next week.
Thanks, Barbara. Did you have, Mike, you wanna?
So, I just want to make sure the action item is clear. There's a list of 10 towns, and then there's I thought the request was for the study from 10 years ago.
Right, that's
when
the
this was
question.
done.
We conducted a study 10-town comparison, and we don't have a copy of it. That's what we're looking for, the study, wherever it was.
No, it was the compensation plan, and originally there was 10 towns, what Kevin is referring to, as part of a compensation plan, which was done right before COVID, I believe. So it has not been 10 years yet, but there was an additional or new list of towns, which there's more than 10 towns on the list now. So there wasn't a study to compare. I don't know what study you're looking for. It was just part of the compensation.
Well, put it this way, say DLS interactive color map, the one I provided, just as an example of 7 towns, and it has average price, property tax, population, mill rate. We're looking at, the thought is to compare where we are versus other towns, surrounding towns. How do we compare? So we have a benchmark, and that was the discussion. And then it came up that, we did a study like that 10 years ago. I said, wow, that's good. Let's see the study. And now we're finding out it wasn't a study. The only thing you have is a compensation study. So we don't really have a study comparing Sturbridge to surrounding towns and various criteria.
I may be
Well,
mistaken.
I'll have to look at that study and see if there was a section of that compensation study that talked about
There,
So the comparison communities, I would assume that happened. And I will look for that next week.
okay, because
It did, I don't know if it's specifically listed, the ones, or it's actually the final report, but I do know that they had designated about 10, towns that were the closest they could come. But there was a lot of discussion, from what I'm told, about the fact that none of them were really identical to us because of the unique character of our tourism industry. But they did have comparative towns. I just can't recall them specifically in that final report or not, but I can dig through it.
I mean, the original list had towns like Orleans and Grafton,
Right.
and it was all, and that was going back to 20 years, and we did change that. And then you did this study, there's a middle piece in there too, where we, and I disagreed with it at the time, that we changed the towns to ones much more geographically closer to us, which did not resemble us. You know, so towns like Oxford and Charlton and Spencer. Yeah, go ahead, Larry.
It was very, very instructive when the discussion was on the floor of the annual town meeting several years ago. A number of people simply did not understand the importance of objective, incontrovertible points of comparison. Some people thought, well, shouldn't the towns have beautiful town commons? Well, one person's beautiful town common is a terrific place for a high-rise. That's subjective. The comparisons are, for example, paid or volunteer fire department. It's one or the other. Number of miles of accepted road. Member of a regional school district or not.
Yep.
Those are some, 3, 4, of about a dozen or more factors that nobody can dispute. Then you have intangibles, like geographical location at 2 interstates with a world-famous museum. Well, you know, there's some towns think that they are almost near one of the interstates. So it was really instructive, that town meeting, for us or whoever is involved in doing another one, if another one is done, to be explicit as to why some things are not chosen for comparison, like a beautiful town common.
Got it, yeah, of course.
Of course, to you and me. My point is, not of course to some people.
Yeah, I think what happens, I think we talked about it, I think if you get a benchmark, if you compare us to similar towns, and then one town says, I don't want a beautiful downtown, I don't want a commons, I want buildings and construction, fine, it's all relative. We're gonna pay for that. That's our choice. But we're looking for a benchmark to start with, platform, and then from the benchmark, you say, to your point, the extra features and what you want. You want trails, you want this. If the town people choose that, and that's of the town and the cost, then there's the differential. There's the benchmark, but whys are higher than at this point, because we've chosen to operate our town in a different way.
Well, remember that the goal is to be competitive in the marketplace at a certain level, usually just a little above the median, usually. There's no law that says it's got to be wherever it is, but that's a general place to try to compete. Well, if you've got the 25 reserve officers, police officers, 1 dispatcher, and the chief, who's full-time, what kind of salary is that going to be?
Sure.
That's why it's got to be objective, always to lay the groundwork for a table of compensation.
I agree.
Yep.
I'm looking for the benchmark, so yeah, that's fair, that's fine, yeah.
So am I making any modifications to the minutes, or the
Yes.
discussion just says it's coming?
Well, I would go with this coming, but you are taking out that bullet.
I took out the bullet, but the discussion about the action item for the whatever, I don't need to
Sounds
put
like a
that
couple
in
people
there.
just took the action item to go track that thing down.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what it was. Somebody's gonna look, I thought Barb said she might know where it is and was gonna look for it. It wasn't a big deal, so, one way or the other.
Okay, so the only amendment is to strike the bullet
Well, one more
point.
thing.
Oh, okay. What do you got?
I know, my playoffs are gonna, NFL draft's coming up soon. Page 3, where it says, Ken provided his comparison. Well, it really wasn't my comparison. It was a DLS interactive color map, 2026, and I provided it and included 7 towns, and besides the mill rate, it had property tax, population. You could actually go property tax versus average house price and do the analysis and find out where you are as a percentage to house pricing versus taxes. That's another bit of criteria. So it wasn't just the mill rate, but it wasn't mine per se. If you want to say Ken presented DLS interactive color map, including 7 towns in the area with some specific data, I'm all right with that.
So how about, I'll just say, you provided a comparison of mill rates of area towns from DLS data you obtained.
That sounds,
And
yeah.
added that while mill rates were part of. Okay,
Yeah, that's
we'll do
fine.
it.
This way, I think it's kind of invented the numbers.
All right. Any other amendments to the
That's
April
it.
9th meeting? That's okay. So I would need a motion to amend the April 9th minutes as discussed. Larry?
Approve as amended, yep.
Yeah. Do I have any?
original.
Bridget, so Larry and Bridget. Anybody else? All those in favor? It's 9-0.
However, Larry was not at that meeting, so
Oh, thank you.
Oh, all right.
8:01.
Change it to abstain?
Yes.
801, okay. So.
I can't make the motion.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So Bridget made the motion. Who's going to second Bridget's motion? MC.
Excellent.
Okay, now we're on the 801. All right, so that's the April 9th
So
minute.
we're working off of the, for that one,
Original draft.
the original draft. I did send an alternate draft. This is one that I, we always struggle with, how much detail we put in here. The original draft had a lot of MH, raised this issue and so forth. Not that I don't mind having my name associated with things I said, but it was one of those, rather than getting into a lot of that discussion, was a way to condense it. So I'll just leave both drafts for the committee to look at for the future to figure out whether the longer, more conversational stuff is what we want to have, which is what we've been doing, or just kind of shorting to, this is the topic that was discussed versus the back and forth of who said what and who we can't, replied to somebody else's comment there, so.
All right, we can use that
Trying to
because,
capture the essence of the discussion versus word for word what people said.
so before I jump into new business, I just want to go back one because I meant to say this, but it was buried behind everything else on here. When we were done making all the changes, and especially including in the snow and ice deficit, our free cash balance, if everything gets approved as we recommend it, is going to end up at $3,791,255.85, which is like 8.2%.
3 million.
3,791,255.85.
Let's live with that.
8.2%.
Of this year's operating budget?
J3 of, I should actually do it as, let's see, that is certified balance divided by C23. I'm just trying to figure that out for you, Mike, so I can, it's the starting balance.
I don't need anything to go in the record, but what's the minimum?
I've got something. There it is.
5%,
5%?
5 to 7.5.
It's of the 27 total budget, the 46,128,466.
5 to 7.5.
On the minimum?
Minimum is 5.
What was
Well,
the snow
you can
and ice?
minimum
Do you
could
have it?
be nothing if you want, I guess, but I guess the
290
DLS said the optimal
snow and
inter
ice
rate is
Oh, 294.
for free cash would be 5 to
7%.
7.5%.
We don't have no, it's no minimum.
Okay,
No,
Okay. Just a question.
Number 379.
That one.
I don't carry the pennies, sorry.
Fair enough, good enough, but, okay, so that moves us to article, number 5, new business. And I know I caused confusion in the way I had this worded, but this was all a result of the end of the discussion of that April 9th meeting, where we're gonna try and meet in the off-season and try and come up, no, actually, Mike's idea was originally, what should our report contain, kind of like a skeleton structure for the report, so that we fill it in and make sure we hit everything we'd like to hit. And then we could also take up what should the meeting minutes contain, and look at both drafts and use them as a kind of thing and do that. But that's coming, that's just like a reminder. That's why it says June reorg, because I don't plan on having that discussion until we have that reorg meeting, because I don't foresee another meeting post the town meeting until we have that reorg meeting, June 30th, because I would imagine at the annual town meeting, right, that's when the moderator will reappoint, or appoint a new person, or reappoint those who are still interested in staying here, whose terms are up. So,
And I did send Kevin a proposed alternate approach that was more encompassing of the items that I talked about, that we could. if you wanted
right,
to share that.
and I do have, I was going to kind of send it out for all those discussion things, but you did, yeah.
I would say this is a really, really good idea, to have a stem to stern look, because it's what, Kevin, you and I did this one 22, 23 years ago.
Quite a while.
Those opening many pages, we simply sat there and conjured and then brought to the committee. Well, 2 decades plus is plenty.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good idea to massage the hell out of it.
Yeah, no, I think so too. So that's the plan, so in that meeting, so. That's what this was for. It wasn't to take up, just to make sure I didn't lose track of it, and it's gonna go on the next agenda as an actual agenda item. All right, anyone else have any other new business they wanna bring?
A question, on Tintashwa School, when we split the cost, I guess we do it by population or with somewhere along those lines, do we do the same split for capital expenditures as well as operating budget, or is there a different scale between capital and?
No, it's the whole budget.
So in other words, if we bought something new
Why would
capital,
you?
if we bought something new capital-wise and it was $1 million, and our operating percentage 40%, we'd be paying 40% of that million.
It's not, it used to be purely population of students from each town, but now it's a formula. The state assigns us a
Whatever formula we have, we
so
pay
we're a
now.
little bit higher.
Well,
Okay.
it's predominantly driven by what percent of students are from Sturbridge versus other towns.
Yes, but there are other factors that make our percentage higher than just
That was
that.
modified a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sturbridge used to provide sewer and water and police and fire services for free. Of course, there was mutual aid, but
Yeah.
that's true anyway.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone with old business? Public access? Okay, then I
NFL
would,
draft?
I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:48. Mike McGlone, and do I have a second? Bridget? Okay, all those in favor of adjournment? 9-0.